Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back again. Hope you've been having a wonderful day. In this video I'm going to review the French Jaguar A and give you my opinion on if it's worth the grind. This aircraft isn't new to the game. In fact, it was added in the Raining Fire patch, but it has been significantly updated. But here's some quick history just in case you missed it. The Jaguar was a 1960s joint project between France and Britain. Both nations had a requirement for an inexpensive, supersonic light attack / reconnaissance aircraft that was also capable of nuclear strikes. I think it's pretty cool that the Jaguar gets to fulfill the tactical nuclear strike role in the game due to the nuclear bomb mechanic that Gaijin added earlier. The Jaguar was extensively exported, and although France and Britain have since retired the aircraft, it's still active in the Indian Air Force. Now, I really like this plane. It's one of the few high-tier planes in the French tech tree that is actually pretty good. With the groundbreaking update, the Jaguar received even more toys for its primary air-to-ground role. So I mentioned roles, and let's get this clear up front. The Jag was primarily a ground attack aircraft. Although you can have some good air RB matches, ground RB is where this plane really shines. I realize that some of you are primarily pilots and do not play ground RB, and conversely some of you primarily play tanks and only pursue aircraft to provide casts and enhance your ground lineups. So I'm going to break this video up into two parts. I'll cover the performance of the plane in air realistic and ground realistic. I'll put chapters in so you can skip ahead if you are really interested in only ground strike. Alright, so let's talk air RB. Even without a radar, the Jaguar still does pretty good because it has two magic missiles, which are some of the best air-to-air missiles of the game due to the 30G overload. But I'll say it again, flares are reducing the effectiveness of not only the magic, but all infrared air-to-air missiles. With this last patch, flares are even more effective. So enough of that. The Jag comes with two internally mounted 30mm DIFA cannons with a ballistics computer, an RWR, and chaff and flare countermeasures, of which you get plenty. I use the mixed countermeasures program, and you get 126 expendables apiece. If you really don't care about chaff, you can go for a flare only setup and carry a total of 252 flares. And last but not least, since you're an attacker jet, you get the air spawn. So I've noted that you don't get a radar, but I have been using the ATLIS targeting pod in ARB to try and identify enemy planes and see what type of loadouts they have. It's a good passive sensor and can yield some useful battlefield information. I also tried using the pod with the AS-30Ls and head-ons, and it kinda didn't really go well. But I've been able to use the pod to scan the enemy airfield for stragglers or planes returning to base while remaining undetected. So it's not a radar, but the pod does give you some situational awareness, and I'd rather fly with it than without it since I don't have a radar. So that's pretty good. You got good defensive aids with the jet. And you do have the air spawn, which kind of gives you an advantage in the beginning of the match. You'll be able to pounce on enemy fighter bombers in that crucial first few minutes of the match. And, with any luck, you'll get 2 free kills. So like I said, if you're flying with the air-to-air loadout, you'll want to promptly destroy enemy fighter bombers and then vacate the expected furball area for a bit, as the main body will be arriving. You don't want to get swarmed. One of the major shortcomings of the Jag is that even though it's very agile, it is underpowered. Keep your speed up if possible. Although you can get supersonic in this jet, it's not suitable for boom and zoom tactics. The bottom line is that the underpowered engines, even with full afterburner, will get you in trouble if you've been maneuvering even moderately. It takes some time to rebuild the airspeed. Gaijin attempted to address this by buffing the thrust in the last patch, but you still have to be very cautious about speed bleeding off in sustained turns, especially when carrying anything more than air-to-air load. You have leading edge slats that can help with high angles of attack, and combat flaps to assist with low speed maneuvering, and if you find yourself overshooting, you even have speed brakes. So let's talk ground RB. This is where the Jag is most useful. This jet has a wide variety of ordnance to choose from and 5 weapons hardpoints to fit every occasion. If you need diddly accuracy even with moving targets, you have laser-guided bombs of 2 sizes and air-to-ground missiles. Do you want to saturate an area? You have rockets and dumb bombs for that. One weapon I found interesting were the TBA multi-darts, which are small kinetic penetrators with no explosive. Very useful for knocking out light vehicles from the top and rear. and a cheaper spawn than the laser-guided bombs and missiles. The Jag is an excellent fighter bomber and is capable of delivering decisive close air support and interdiction, while also having the capability to defend itself from enemy aircraft. You have the standard ballistics computer for guns, rockets, and bombs, but with the addition of the ATLIS II, or Automatic Tracking and Laser Electro-Optical Integration System, targeting pod, you now have the total package. As a French aircraft fan, this makes me very happy. The added BGL 400 and 1000 laser-guided bombs and the AS-30L Nord air-to-ground missiles increased lethality and usefulness of the Jag, and it's now on par with many of its peers. Sadly, the ATLIS II targeting pod lost the thermal sight it had on the dev server, but it is now historical. You still have night vision capability though, which is useful. The pod allows you to accurately employ the BGL smart bombs and the AS-30L laser-guided missile while giving you some freedom to maneuver. I say some because if you violently maneuver after launching the missile or the bombs, the laser will come off target due to losing field of vision. Basically, don't mask the target with your aircraft or terrain due to maneuver, and the pod will maintain targeting. This is a major disadvantage of using the pod. But once you find a target and lock it, you must maintain target lock until impact. This means the aircraft is somewhat vulnerable in that launch to impact window. Also, laser warning receiver equipped vehicles will immediately become aware of you and attempt to hide behind cover or conceal themselves with smoke. I have found that carrying 2 BGL 1000s, the targeting pod, and 2 Magics still allows the jet to be agile enough to take effective evasive action. However, if you opt to carry the full air-to-ground load of 8 400 kg SAMP Type 21 dumb bombs, the jet is extremely sluggish. Alternatively, you could go for the 6 400 kg dumb bombs and 2 Magics, but this load only slightly reduces the sluggishness. I do not prefer to carry either of these dumb bomb loadouts for exactly that reason. On the other hand, you can carry the 250 kg SAMP Type 25 dumb bombs in many different configurations. That's the awesome thing about the Jag. There are multiple weapons configuration presets to fit player preferences. So let's wrap up here. Is the Jag worth the grind? I say definitely yes. It's an amazing 10.3 BR cast platform for your top tier ground lined up. You get an eclectic mix of weapons to pick from and the means to use them effectively. With the addition of chaff and flares a few patches ago, this jet is even more survivable. No other top-tier French aircraft can match the air-to-ground ordnance carrying capacity of the Jag. The Intendard 4M and the Mirage 3C and 3E are poor choices for any cast work in my opinion. If you're a bit of a masochist, I guess you could always buy the premium Vautour 2 8-pack if you really need cast now, but I strongly recommend against that. The Vautour is near useless right now. Alright, and that is the video for today. If you made it to the end, thanks a lot, I really appreciate you, and the algorithm appreciates it. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit the like button, even consider subscribing, and I'll see you in a future video. Thanks again.